Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. Great episode today. Gonna be not really maybe continuing, kind of piggybacking on last week's episode, going back into the world of AI or artificial intelligence. So if you like the content, consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up to like the video, and let me know in the comments what you think about what I discussed. But this episode is about I want to say about the truth, or at least searching for the truth or finding the truth, because we all say that we want the truth. Think of X Files, if you're a big X Files fan. We say we want people to be honest with us. How many times do you say, be honest with me? How do I look? We want to, we say we want to understand ourselves better. We want to grow. But I'm not sure most of us actually want the truth. I believe that most of us simply want reassurance. We want someone to tell us that we were right or justified. The other person was the problem. The situation failed because I was surrounded by difficult people, selfish people. I was in a toxic situation. But we have AI now, and it's becoming incredibly good at giving us exactly what we want to hear. Think about how rarely people truly stop and reflect on their own lives. Now, a relationship ends, then we immediately begin explaining what the other person had done wrong. We tell the story simply from our own perspective. We remember their tone, the mistakes, their failures. We remember every single moment that they disappointed us. But how often do we stop and ask ourselves a very I think a more important question is, was I the problem? I was gonna say me the problem. Was I the problem? Not were they perfect? Not did they make mistakes? But what did I contribute to what ultimately happened? Because there were, if you're in a relationship with two people, is 50-50. Maybe you were emotionally unavailable. Maybe you had stopped listening. Perhaps every disagreement became a competition that you needed to win. Maybe you punished the other person with silence and then called it protecting your peace. That's very, very difficult to admit because it threatens the image we have of ourselves. Most of us do not see ourselves as the villain in our story. We see ourselves as reasonable. We see ourselves as caring people. We see ourselves as people as a person who tried. And maybe maybe we did try, but trying does not automatically mean we did not cause any harm. The same thing happens at work. Every manager you've ever had was terrible. Maybe every company failed to recognize you are valuable. Maybe every coworker was simply jealous or lazy. It's possible. But when the same conflict continues to follow us from one maybe workplace, maybe one relationship to another, eventually we have to ask whether the common person is in every situation, is that me? Is that us? Maybe we are the difficult coworker. Maybe we reject every correction as disrespect. We believe being held accountable means someone is attacking us. Maybe we complain about everyone else's attitude while never considering what it feels like to work beside us, next to us. That question can be very hurtful. It can hurt. It's way easier to believe everyone else around us is the problem. Maybe you are that toxic friend. Maybe you only call when you need something. Every conversation eventually becomes about your life. You expect unlimited support from other people while becoming unavailable when they need you. But instead of reflecting on that, you might say, people always abandon you. You might say nobody's loyal anymore, and there will always be someone willing to agree with you. That is where I believe AI now starts to enter the conversation in this day and age. You could tell an AI about your relationship. You can explain the argument, describe what the other person said, and how it made you feel. But AI only knows the version of the story that you are giving it. It does not know what you left out. It does not know that you had the same argument 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times before. It does not know what you said 5 minutes earlier. And it doesn't know whether you raise your voice. Maybe it's how you stared, your body position. It doesn't know that you ignored the other person or completely changed the story in your own mind. It only knows what you typed. And when you provide a version of the story where you are calm, reasonable, the innocent one, it'll respond by telling you that your feelings are completely valid. It may tell you that you deserve better. And it may tell you the other person is showing toxic behavior. And maybe that answer feels good. It feels like confirmation, but it might not be the truth, might not be the whole truth. AI can become a perfect friend who has only heard your side of the story, the friend who never interrupts, the friend who never says, hold on, what did you do? The friend who never risks upsetting you. And that can become dangerous because we may begin using AI not to discover the truth, but to negotiate for the answer that we want to hear. When we do not like the first response, we change the wording. We add another detail that makes us look better. We leave out the part that makes us uncomfortable and we ask again. Eventually, we get an answer that feels right. But feeling right and actually being right are not the same thing. This is not only a problem with AI. People have searched for voices that agree with them. We choose news that reinforces what we already believe, listen to religious leaders that support our interpretation, and surround ourselves with a friend group who approve of all our decisions. AI didn't create confirmation bias, it simply made it faster, more personal, and available at any moment you need it. You no longer have to wait for a friend to answer the phone. You can receive validation instantly. And the more AI learns about you, the better it may become at speaking in a way that you find comforting. That may be one of the greatest dangers of AI. Not that it will always lie to us, but that it will learn exactly how we prefer to be lied to. It can soften the answer and frame everything around your feelings. It can protect the identity that you have built, but sometimes growth really requires something that does not protect your identity. Sometimes growth begins when the version of yourself you believe in is challenged. Maybe you're not always the understanding person. Perhaps you're not always the victim. The apology you're waiting for should begin with you and does not mean you should blame yourself. It doesn't mean you should blame yourself for anything. There are abusive relationships. There are toxic workplaces. There are people who do manipulate, lie, and cause real harm. Self reflection is not the same thing as taking responsibility for someone else's behavior, but there's a difference between accepting blame for everything and refusing to examine anything. Real reflection asks us to look honestly at our role without immediately defending ourselves. And perhaps that is how we need to begin using AI. Instead of asking, can you explain why this person is toxic? Perhaps ask it, what information could I be leaving out? And instead of asking, was I right? How might the other person describe this situation? Instead of asking it for comfort, maybe we should sometimes ask it to challenge us. AI can only work with the truth that we are willing to provide it. If we lie to it, hide details from it, carefully shape the story, then it may simply reflect that distortion back on us. And then we will call the reflection truth. Maybe the greatest problem is not that AI is becoming too agreeable. The problem is that we have always wanted something that agrees with us. We do not always want a mirror. We want a flattering light, flattering lighting. We want the imperfections to be softened. We want the uncomfortable parts removed, chopped off, changed. We want to see the person we believe ourselves to be. But a mirror that always flatters you is not showing you exactly who you are. And a voice that always agrees with you is not helping you grow. So before you ask AI who was wrong, before we ask whether someone else is toxic, before we use it to confirm everything we already believe, maybe we should stop for a moment and ask the question that most of us spend our whole lives avoiding. Could I be the problem? Am I the problem? Because the truth may not always make us feel better, but sometimes, feeling uncomfortable is the first sign that we are finally hearing it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And uh, one of the main reasons why I came up with this is I see a lot of people nowadays, the first thing they do, they go to AI. What do you think of this? What do you, uh, something this changed? Let me program it into AI. So and so was doing this at work. How should I respond? I've been seeing more and more of that to get that instant answer. So that's the reason why I came up with this. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. Consider subscribing if you want to consider to see content from me and liking the video, hitting the thumbs up. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'm saying thanks for watching again. Just repeating myself. See you in the next one.